Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Barely Bookish podcast. Today, I am going to be talking about episode 5 of Kindred, and I am joined by Candace.
Hi.
Let's just get right in. It's
Let's
fine.
just go for it. Yep.
Yeah, let's just start. I feel like we did our reaction in the last episode. I think we
hmm
can just start somewhat chronologically and go through it that way.
I'm down.
So they roll up in a random field so far away from Rufus.
Almost
For why?
comically far.
Yeah,
Almost comically far, really.
like start your Fitbit tracking walk app to go find Rufus because you're going to be taking a hike.
Outrageous. And then, Kevin obviously goes back in time with her and is immediately upset about it. Dana, we got to get out of here. I'm like,
Yeah. Same.
you're a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, listen, you go this way, I'll go that way, and just blow your whistle if you find Rufus. And I'm like, you guys bought brightly colored plastic whistles. Not even a metal whistle. Like, they don't have whistles that look like a modern whistle back then. They have like little penny whistles or little stick whistles, right? That they
Yeah.
used at that time. But even still, get a fucking silver whistle, dude. Then at least people will be like, oh, a new design of whistle. A plastic one? Like, I don't understand. And then, like, when she finds Rufus, he's like got stomach pains.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so stomach cramps, gas belly, having a rumble.
Yeah.
That's enough to get her transported back into slavery.
Apparently.
I don't,
He's like,
because
oh, I feel
this
kind of
is an all new
gross.
scene. Like, this doesn't
Yeah.
happen in the book where he has some kind of stomach issue.
Yeah. And then Dana immediately decides that it's alcohol poisoning and that the cure is like coffee.
Yeah, and I think she gives him Mylanta or something, which I'm like, that's not going to help. People get
Yeah.
their stomach pumped for that shit.
Yeah, I feel like the goal is to make them throw up
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
sit mostly up so you don't like reflux and die. That's all I
right.
know about alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, put them on their side. And
Yeah.
then, like, so this really takes the cake for me, pun intended. Um,
Hmm.
this episode, like,
Yeah.
so she walks into the barn, she sees the liquor, she sees a slice of cake on the ground that he's eating.
Hmm.
And meanwhile, Kevin is being held at gunpoint by an Irishman.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's just an Irish man there for
Yeah.
whatever reason, and he's got a gun. And Luke, like, he's like, so Kevin's like, listen, like, I'm friends with Mr. Whalen, with Tom. Why don't you just follow me? You should just follow me, right? And like holds up his hands, and he has the guy follow him, right? Pointing this weapon at him.
Yeah.
And he gets like to the barn where Dana is. And then
Hmm.
Luke comes in, right? And like pushes him aside, pushes this
Yeah.
white man aside,
Shoulder checks him.
comes
Uh-huh.
in, yells at him to lower his weapon. He does so, which I'm like,
Yeah.
how is this happening?
Hmm.
I don't understand. What?
Yeah.
How? Right? Like, he's telling this overseer what to
Hmm.
do. Like,
Yep.
meanwhile, overseers were some of the most vicious people on a plantation. Their only
Yeah.
job was to beat the shit and fear of God into slaves. And
Hmm.
Luke is just like swinging his fucking weight around. This white man is like acquiescing to everything he says, based solely on the previous interactions with Dana and Tom and Kevin. We know that he feels a certain way about black people not knowing their fucking place, but it's okay.
Literally.
He goes out and says that Marsa Tom, gave him Jake, who is Margaret's brother, because he felt he needed a little help. So you're saying that
No.
you are giving a white man to a slave who works for free. This white
Hmm.
man you pay because he lives in your house, right? He like
Yeah.
gets a wage from you. So you're paying this white man to work for a slave
No.
and take
No.
orders from a slave? What?
No.
What? I don't. And the white man is fine with it?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I was so confused.
Like,
That's
it's
the point where I
almost
immediately
laughable.
that's the point in which I texted you to be like, have you watched the episodes yet?
Oh my God.
that very moment that occurred, I immediately was like, I need Candace to have seen this.
My whole life flashed before my eyes. I didn't know what to do. I was just
I
like,
know.
I had to push pause. I looked at my partner and he goes, "What is happening?" I'm like, "I don't
I
know.
don't know. Like,
Can someone tell me?"
I don't even know like what I'm feeling, you know? I don't know how to describe this feeling, but it feels just wrong and I feel
Yeah.
dirty. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
need to take a shower. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel grimy. It's
Yeah.
this is just so off-putting to me because it's like I can't figure out what they're doing. Like I don't understand what's happening.
At all.
Like I need a lens to watch this through to understand what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I
I
don't get it.
They need to get to the end already. If he's Margaret Whalen's brother, why does he sound like he's from fucking Dublin? I don't understand. Why doesn't
Yeah.
she have an accent? If they grew up
Yeah.
together, he's her younger brother. Why doesn't she have an accent? Like, I just don't. I don't understand the creative choices that they're making whatsoever. And then, like, to change the character of Jake from how he
Mhm.
is in the book
Mhm.
to the show, right? He's cruel in the book. He
Mhm.
beats people just to beat them. He's a horrible person,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's offensive to remove that and act like he's just what, a pawn for Luke.
Yeah.
So he doesn't beat any of the slaves, right? Because if he beats the slaves and he works for Luke, that's really Luke's problem, isn't it? It's not Tom Whaling's problem. This black man is telling this white guy to treat these black people poorly. Like, the
Yeah.
whole thing is just disgusting. And like,
Yeah.
then we find out, like, so Dana's mother Olivia is leaving with Alice to flee, right?
Mhm.
And Dana says, "Well, that's the thing. I'm related to Carrie. I think she's my ancestor." I'm like, time the fuck out.
Yeah.
How is Carrie your ancestor? What are we talking about here? What are we saying here? Like, how in the world? Because you know what that means too? And this is what I'm saying
Mhm.
about pulling the fucking thread, man, about the butterfly effect, right? Like,
Mhm.
you pull this thread of, I'm going to nix Alice from the story. Alice was a free woman.
Mhm.
So now you're saying that what? Rufus is going to grow up, be just like his daddy. He's going to rape slaves, specifically one that is mute and can't cry for help. Are you serious right now?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. That one day
Well,
Rufus is going to be a man and he is going to rape Carrie, who is mute
mhm.
and cannot speak.
Mhm.
And so he's going to rape the only person on the plantation that can't cry, that can't
Yeah.
talk to somebody about their experience, that can't have outcry.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is like some fucking next level violence, dude. That's like some next level anti-black violence. And I know it's not anti-black violence because black people have written this, but at the same time, like, you know, someone must have done some major overhauls and some major rewrites to this shit. Like,
Mhm.
especially with how hard their social people are going on trying to convince people it's good.
Yeah.
Like, it is,
Yeah.
this is disgusting. Like, I'm
Yeah.
disgusted. Like, I felt like a gorge rise in my fucking stomach. Like, this is beyond offensive to me.
Well, I also noticed that Nigel's gone
Yeah.
too, which makes
Vanished.
this
Vanished. Because
it
Nigel
makes
and
me
Carrie
think.
get together, so you can't have
Yeah.
Nigel. Yeah. Yep.
So I wonder. I was trying to figure out. I'm like, are they gonna make it? Oh, I thought it was Carrie, but it must be Alice, or are we just completely nixing Alex? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, and that's the thing too. Like, if Rufus isn't her ancestor and Carrie is her ancestor, then what is her relationship to Aunt Sarah?
I'm so confused.
I'm so confused. Especially
Okay.
because I'm pretty sure Aunt Sarah's kids are the kids
Mhm.
of Tom Whalen's father-in-law.
Yeah.
Because he got Aunt Sarah passed down because Aunt Sarah was like, I've been here longer than any of these fucking fools, these white fools,
Ew.
because she
So
belonged to the
he's
last
raping
master of the
his
plantation,
cousin.
his
He's raping his
cousin-in-law,
cousin.
basically. His
No,
his
because
his first it's
oh,
his
first
first
wife.
wife's half sister. Yeah, so it's like
Okay.
The Sally Hemings and Sally Hemings' mom thing, where like Thomas Jefferson's wife's father was
Mhm.
Sally Hemings's father, and that's who he was sleeping with. So he was essentially sleeping with his wife and his wife's sister.
Yeah.
Like,
I.
the whole thing is just timey-wimey nonsense bullshit, right? And
Mm,
then like
yeah.
Kevin's like, "Well, I don't want to be separate from you," because she's like, "Oh, take Rufus to the house and everything, right? Get him all sorted and I'll figure some shit out here." He's like, "Well, what if you go back? You know, that I'm
Yeah.
stuck here." And she's like, "You're going to be fine." She's like, "Listen, worst comes to worst, right? you know that like you can summon me anytime the kid is in danger. So like just do what you have to do. So you're trying to convince me that this woman is motherly enough to save this
Mhm.
kid's life over and over again and be fine with the fact that she's getting thrown and hurtling back through time to save this white child. But she's also what, vicious enough to be like hurt him if you have to?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I don't understand. I'm so confused.
So then they decide that they're going to talk about this new slave, Winnie,
Yeah.
right? Who's in the
Which
cookhouse with Aunt Sarah,
is Winnie
who's
the
like,
same one that they beat up before in the book? Is that the same name or is it a completely different name?
I'm pretty sure it's a completely different name.
Okay.
Um, and Winnie is also an older woman in the book because she's like she's last year's girl basically, which is
Oh,
why she's a
yeah.
problem because she gets kind
Okay.
of her she gets the favors, the favor that she has in the
Mhm.
eyes of the master, right? That's taken from her because now Dana is kind of subverting that, which is why she tries to make trouble for Dana because she's like, this is all I have basically now, right? All I
Yeah.
have are these like tiny bits of comfort that I get because I allow myself to be the master's concubine or whatever, right? So like
Yeah.
you've got Tom Whalen who now has a slave that he likes to sleep with, right? We find out
Mhm.
that Winnie is his girl, which
Yeah.
like why are we talking about it in that way instead of being real that like he bought a slave to rape?
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. He saw a slave, he thought she was pretty and was like, I want her, and got her, right? Like
Mhm.
I don't understand like what they're doing with that or why he like blackmails Brodus into giving him his land and is now richer and has a larger plot. Like in the book
Mhm.
he's poor. The whole
Yeah.
point is that he is poor to show that even the poorest white people had slaves. So why are we continuing this narrative of this man fucking like having like a giant ass plantation that he lives on after threatening this guy with fucking homophobia? Like,
Yeah.
what is happening? What is
I don't
going on?
know.
What is
Oh, and then
going on?
the other thing that kind of bothers me, like this is so minimal, but I kind of hate the fact that they're like, "Oh, it's 3 years in the future and Rufus has not aged a day."
Not one day. No one's
You can
aged.
yeah, like you can say like the older folks, you can be like, "Okay, you know, most people by the time they hit like 40 kind of start looking, 40 to 43, you don't change much. You can
Mm-hmm.
do that with makeup." But like a 10-year-old to a 13-year-old
Very big
look
difference.
very different. And I
Yep.
don't understand why they don't have cast like they didn't cast any sort of aging.
Yeah. Or try
I
to
don't
age
get
him
it.
down in the previous scenes. It's not like we spend a ton of time with him. His
Yeah.
character is like basically a B-lister in this show. Like
Yeah.
the show should be about Dana and Rufus, and
Yeah.
everyone else should be B characters, but it's not.
I know.
And like even down to like the way that they treat like Aunt Sarah, right? Like Aunt Sarah in the book is like this motherly figure for Dana, which I understand that's why we can't have her the same way in the show. But
Mhm.
like the respect that we get for Aunt Sarah, the perspective, the
Mhm.
understanding, right? That like Dana has to kind of go through this understanding with Rufus, understanding with Aunt Sarah, right? Like Dana
Mhm.
gets to know Aunt Sarah through other people because like Aunt
Mhm.
Sarah is very guarded and protective of who she is and the life that she's led, right? So she
Yeah.
finds out a lot from Luke. She finds out from Nigel. She finds out from Rufus, right? She finds more information out about Aunt Sarah that she's able to take to her to have conversations, right?
Mhm.
But here it's like it's almost like Aunt Sarah just like is like omnipotent or something. I don't know. It's so
I don't
weird.
know.
She's like talking about Winnie, like Winnie likes being raped or something like that.
Yeah.
Like she like she has no heart, but then also has a ton of heart when it comes to her own issues. Like it's just gross. Like it's just gross. And then like we
What
get to
movie is
this.
it? Oh, sorry,
Mhm.
go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
With the Aunt Sarah thing and the cake thing,
Hmm.
what movie is it that they are fed the shit cake? What movie is that?
The
'Cause
help.
that felt Yes, thank you. Is that what this is supposed to be? Was that
No, I
just ripped
think
right from that? I don't understand.
so. I think what she's trying, what the people who are making this are trying to do is like Aunt Sarah is trying to, and this is what I'm saying. They're putting that like that sabotage that
Yeah.
one desperate lady does in the book to Dana. They're trying to put that on Aunt Sarah. So like
Yeah.
basically, Aunt Sarah tells Winnie like Winnie makes the cake, but Aunt Sarah makes the icing.
Yeah.
So the cake itself is fine, but the icing has poison or something in it that's going to make
Mhm.
people sick because Aunt Sarah is like, I don't want to be replaced. if Winnie is a good cook, then they'll replace me because Tom Whalen likes having sex with his slaves, because Tom Whalen, I think, also has forced Aunt Sarah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like she knows that like there's a season, because there's multiple women on the plantation that used to be the girl, right? There's like more than one. It's not just Aunt Sarah and this one lady. There's also like another lady that got sold off when he grew tired of her, right? He sold her and all her kids off and shit. Like,
Mhm.
because remember, they were all like, those are his own kids he sold off. Like he's that kind of a monster, right? In the book. Those are his own children.
Yeah.
So like we know that like Aunt Sarah's had that experience. So in in the show, she's basically like relegated to, oh, I'm trying to carve out a path for myself, right? By, sabotaging Winnie because of what she has. And like the
Mhm.
thing that that really set me off too is like the following scene is like Kevin talking to Tom Whalen, right? Tom Whalen like waves him down. He's like smoking his opium pipe, offers Kevin some. He hesitates a little too long before saying he doesn't want any, right?
Yeah.
So we already know something's happening with that. And he like calls Winnie in to show her off to
Mhm.
Kevin, right? To be like lascivious about it. He says, "Oh yeah, the other slaves call it the Jezebel cabin because I put her up in her own dig. She has her own room so that we can have privacy because it's better than rutting in the fucking mud like pigs."
Mhm.
And in my head, I'm like, it's not rutting like pigs. You're raping this woman. She has not
Yeah.
consented to be with you. And because you are her slave master, she cannot consent to be with you.
Mhm.
Even if she looks at you in your fucking eyes, dead in, and says, yes, baby, I want you right now. Give me all of it. Like, it's
Yeah.
still under duress, because if she says no, she might get the shit beat out of her or worse. So,
Mhm.
like, this is not romantic. This is not sexy. It is not okay in any stretch of anyone's imagination. But I feel like
Yeah.
they are trying to sell us this life so hard, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Like her
and
knitting
yeah,
when they walk in. I was
yeah,
like, "What is this? What is happening?"
yeah. And to call it the Jezebel cabin. No, what slave that's coming from Africa, right? There's been slavery
Mhm.
now for maybe 100 maybe to 150 years in the country at this point, right? Yes, some
Mhm.
slaves, a lot of slaves are Christian, right? But the way that they understand their Christianity is different. Tom Whalen says that the other slaves call it the Jezebel cabin, and he kind of likes that,
I
right?
don't know what that means.
So the reason he likes that is because Jezebel in the Bible is a woman who's a temptress, right? She's a woman who like is so sexy that men can't
Mhm.
keep their hands off of her. So men are
Oh.
always having sex with her, even if they're married, right? She's a temptress, like literally a
Mm.
temptress. Like that is her role,
Okay.
Jezebel, right? So the thing that like fucks me up the most about this, man, like, because it's multi-tiered. Number one, what slave is going to use a white Christian term like Jezebel to talk about a woman who is not voluntarily getting this attention?
Yeah.
No slave is going to be like, she's a Jezebel, she's a temptress. That's what a white man would call a black slave that he wants to fuck. No slave
Mhm.
is going to be like, that's the Jezebel cabin. That's nonsense,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, none of them had any illusions about rape because it could happen to anyone at any time, anywhere, right?
Mhm.
All of them have been sold before. All of them have been maybe raised up on other fucking plantations, right? They had no illusions about the fact that their kids could get fucking sold off. What happened at night when the master took a liking to you, right? That was
Mhm.
an open secret, an extremely open secret. Margaret Whalen in the book even knows that her man has those proclivities. It's not a
Mhm.
secret. So, like, to me, that's fucking disgusting. That's a white construct, a Jezebel cabin. And number
Yeah.
three, the thing that's fucking me up the most is when you talk about African American literature and media, right? And you talk about the way that Black people are portrayed in film and media, there are stereotypes, right, that go back to a certain time. So, like the mammy stereotype, that's an archetype that is, the usually fat, not always fat, but usually fat Black woman,
Mhm.
always a woman who is motherly, she is giving, she is caring, right? The Aunt Jemima, if you will, right?
Mhm.
She will do anything to take care of the little white babies. She'll do
Yeah.
anything to please her master, right? She is there to serve and to scrape and to bow until she is old and her feet are stumps, right?
Mhm.
Like that's the mammy. Like when you watch Gone with the Wind or read Gone with the Wind, right? That mammy character that Hattie
Yeah.
McDaniel won the first Oscar for any Black performer ever for, right? She
Yeah.
was proud she won the award, but the fact that it was for a mammy role was something that was very much not okay in the Black community, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
very harmful stereotype. The person that they're kind of shoehorning into that stereotype in this show is clearly Aunt Sarah, right?
Yeah.
And there's actually a part in the book where Dana acknowledges the mammy stereotype and why it is problematic, right?
Mhm.
There's a whole section where she discusses these stereotypes.
Yeah.
So then one of the other stereotypes, right? You've got the Sambo, right? He's the shiftless, lazy bum that lays around in the cotton field, not doing any work, flirting with women, singing songs, being shiftless, shuffling around, trying to be, this very kind of like extra and overt, for the white man's pleasure kind of situation, right? Whenever you see blackface with the big red lips eating watermelon, that's like a Sambo kind of characteristic, right?
Mhm.
That's a stereotype. It's very harmful and disgusting. And there's lots of examples of that role in modern culture. Like a lot of black
Mhm.
theorists see like the Chappelle show as like a minstrel act a little bit, right? Like the old stuff that Dave Chappelle used to do. Don't even want to talk
Mhm.
about the new stuff. He's terrible. But the
I don't know who that
Jezebel,
is.
don't even. He's not
Yeah.
worth it. The
Okay.
Jezebel, right? The
Mhm.
Jezebel is um it is a stereotype that white people came up with
Mhm.
because they couldn't justify finding animals, and by animals, I mean black people,
Mhm.
attractive,
Mhm.
right? They're beneath us. You wouldn't look
Yeah.
at a dog and fantasize about a dog. That's wrong, right? So,
Yeah.
in their mind, when a black woman is beautiful, it's because she's a temptress. It's
Mhm.
not for any other reason because you can't really love them, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing, that kind of mentality.
Mhm.
So it's not the white man's fault that he's attracted to this woman. It's because
Mhm.
she is a Jezebel. It puts all of the blame on the woman for being sexy rather
Mhm.
than the reality, which is that lady was just standing there. You looked at her, sexualized her, want her, and now instead of owning up to your fucking weird shit, you instead are making it about how she's a terrible person and it's her
Yeah.
fault. Right now, granted, do we have this several shades of this in other cultures, including white women? Absolutely, right?
Mhm.
Christian people are constantly blaming white women preachers. Oh, well, she came after me. She was a temptress, right? Like it could be a woman of any race,
Greek
right?
mythology is full of this.
This is what I'm saying, right? Like it's the
Yeah.
woman's fault. Like, oh, you were raped? Okay, well, what were you wearing? Right? It's that
Yeah.
same kind of mentality. However, this is specifically about black women. There's a book called
Mhm.
Sapphire that really does a great job of exploring um this identity a little bit more. Or is it a character? I don't know. So Sapphire is a good portrayal of what that is. There's also a book called Passing that kind of explores that a little bit as well. Lots of historical narratives that explain and explore this kind of Jezebel perspective, right? The
Mhm.
Jezebel, the myth of like the over sexualized black woman. You see a lot of it in like Foxy Cleopatra, like in Foxy Brown, right? That's also kind of a Jezebel mythos. Black exploitation films in the 1970s, where you've got like a really sexy, hot black lady, like that whole kind of, you know what it is? The Jezebel is to black women what like the spicy Latina is to Hispanic people and
Mm.
Latin people, right? Where
Mhm.
it's like, oh, well, Salma Hayek is obviously always ready to go because she's curvy. Like, no, those two
Yeah.
things have nothing to do with each other, right? Like, a
Yeah.
body being curvy doesn't mean that people always want you touching it, right? Those are two
Yeah.
completely separate issues. So like that's why I mean, he said the Jezebel cabin, and that's the thing too, right? Like that's going to go over the average viewer's head. They're not going
Mhm.
to make that connection. So when Tom Whalen looks at this man full in his fucking face, looks at Kevin and
Mhm.
makes eye contact with him and says he kind of likes that the slaves call it that, he's
Yeah.
basically saying that he enjoys the fact that his taking an interest in this girl, while yes, offering her the comfort of having
Mhm.
privacy in her own cabin, also ostracizes her from her entire fucking family. All the people
Mhm.
on the plantation that could seek any kind of comfort or offer any kind of comfort to this woman don't do it because she's in the Jezebel cabin, and he derives pleasure from that.
Yeah.
Like that's some next level fucked up shit. I'm sorry. And like
Yeah.
that no one's really going to get it because not everybody that's watching this A read the book or B understands black history in that way, right?
Mhm.
So like for someone like me who's watching it, I'm just like this is disgusting. Like it's straight up harmful. Like
Yeah.
it's revolting. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
And the setting her Winnie up is kind of a bitch, and then
yes.
like trying to make you like feel for her. I did not understand
No.
because it's like the reason that the character who's supposed to be taking over, like and getting Dana in trouble, is a bitch is because she's no longer falling out of favor. She's trying to save her own skin.
Yep.
she's
And
doing
even then,
anything.
Dana exercises. They punish her, right? They gang up on this girl and they beat her ass to be like,
Yeah,
shut the fuck up, right?
yeah,
Not to be like, oh, we're mad at you and we hate you and we're ostracizing you from society. They're
yeah,
like, keep your shit in check because this affects all of us. Your behavior
yeah,
doesn't just affect you. It's
yeah,
everybody that has to deal with the shit that you're doing. So fucking be
literally,
on your fucking six. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
literally,
what they're saying to her. Not, oh, you're fucking kicked out of the barbecue, right? That's
yeah,
not it. Even Dana, like when that lady eventually gets sold, Dana's right outside, like, don't sell her. What are you doing, right? They still
yeah,
protest because they're like, you can't do this. You can't just break up
mhm,
families. You can't just break up support systems. Like, don't do this, right? There's still advocacy for that lady. It's not, oh, you're fucking dead to me because you were basically an animal trapped in a cage and you chewed off your own foot to get out, right? Like,
yeah,
doing that whole dirty backhanded shit with Dana and Alice, like that cost her as well as
mhm,
it made everybody else fucking pay, right? So
mhm,
like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like they have no concept of what any of the book actually meant. They're just like putting
yeah.
puzzle pieces together and forcing them to fit or something.
It felt it feels to me that someone gave a Cliff Notes version of this book, and it was not written, like, this script was not written by someone who has actual care for the book or has ever fully read it.
I felt like somebody like I that's exactly what I thought too, but I was like, I wonder if somebody got a Cliff Notes version of the comic. This is what they
Yeah.
made. Like
Or they, like, skimmed through the comic and, like, chose pieces and then, like,
it's
black sharpied other things.
it's shocking. And then like the next scene, you hear Margaret screaming, right? You hear Margaret screaming her fucking face off, right? Like we go
Mhm.
back out and like the slaves are talking or something, they like switch scenes or whatever, and like you
Mhm.
hear screaming. And you find out it's because everybody's puking their faces off, right?
Yeah.
Margaret is
Oh,
like
wait.
on the stairs.
Wait, before this, we have to mention that, this is when Kevin found out that Carrie and Sarah are gonna get sold.
Right. Right.
So that happens before
Right.
Kenny. Who's Ken?
Thank you.
I
Yeah, you're
messed up
right.
the name.
Because
Yeah.
that's why they were talking. That's why we changed
Yes.
scenes. Because we were in the dining room
Yeah.
and then it was, oh, chat, chat, chat. Maybe I should sell her because Carrie and Rufus are getting too close. And Margaret Whalen got upset that Carrie and Rufus are talking too much.
Mhm.
And she
Mhm.
doesn't like that.
Yes. And
Hmm.
he calls
That's right.
Carrie a temptress, which,
See?
like,
Again,
what?
he basically is calling her a Jezebel
Yeah. And then also, why is Jake eating dinner with them?
because he's part of their family and not a slave.
I don't know. It's
This
weird.
is what I'm saying. The man he reports to can't come into the fucking living area at all. He's never
Yeah.
really in the house. Like he's in the house for like 10 minutes at a time, then goes back outside.
Mhm.
Which like I have to say that's also very like inconsistent. Usually people who were in the field stayed in the fields and the people in the house stayed in the house and they never the twain shall meet. They were
Yeah.
not the same. There was an outside crew and an inside crew. Just like in British servantry, there was a downstairs and an upstairs, right? The family is upstairs, the servants are downstairs. There's
Mhm.
only certain servants that go upstairs, right?
Mhm.
The fucking scullery maid, for example, is not to be seen. You better fucking get your shit done before everybody wakes up because nobody wants to look at your fucking face, right? That's
Mhm.
literally the way that things worked for paid servants, let alone slaves. Like,
Yeah.
it's well documented that there were big house slaves and there were field slaves. And that is something that is still important because that colorism has
Mhm.
extended to 2022. Okay. We are still dealing with the effects of house slaves, light skin, because you keep your light skin because you're inside all the time, and
Mhm.
field slaves outside, because that's the thing. White people prized lighter complexions. So the reason you'd have an indoor slave be lighter is so that when you had company come over, they were less offensive. Right?
Yeah.
There are so many dark brown skinned people in this house. I don't even know what to do with myself. Like that's not real. It's not true. It's not
Yeah.
it none of that is real. None of that is right.
Yeah.
Right? That's not the way it was. And then the people that were outside working the fields were getting tans. So they were even darker than they probably
Mhm.
normally would be. Right? That is literally the documented nature of slavery. And yet they're
Yeah.
like, we're throwing that all out.
Also,
We're
Luke
not
is
going to tell you
around
the truth.
all the time.
Yes.
Just all the time. He's always
Yes, in the
around.
house, outside the house, in the cookhouse, in the field.
He's got a
Like,
cart. He can go
dude,
wherever he wants.
he can go wherever he wants, whenever he wants, doesn't have to ask anybody's permission.
I don't understand. I'm so confused by it.
I can't. I can't.
And then now we're at the point where
Oh, the throwing up.
Sarah's like, "Yo, I put something in the icing." Hint hint wink wink.
Yep.
Dana's like, "Oh yikes." Does not warn Kevin.
Nope.
Does not say a single thing to Kevin. It's basically
Nope.
like, "Oh geez."
Thank God he doesn't eat the cake.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Like, so he's like, all the Kevin's like, all this is happening. This is the perfect time for me to run away
Yep.
and go warn Dana. But it's like pre-dessert. Comes back. Margaret, who definitely did not eat the cake because they're like, yelling at each other,
Yeah, and
fighting.
she was bitching about the girl who made the cake.
Yeah. Did not even seem to have touched it yet. Like, you're telling me that somehow Margaret and Rufus and everybody ate some of this cake before Kevin did. Kevin had time to go outside, and then they all like returned to the dinner table and ate.
Listen, the worst part is that like the throw up
Yeah,
is just embarrassing.
it's just
Like when
water.
you look, it's water, but then it's also like when you see it come out of their mouths, it's CGI throw up.
Hmm.
Like most shows have like a spit take, right? Most shows and movies, somebody puts like Campbell's chicken noodle soup in their mouth and goes bleh, right? And then like
Yeah,
it comes out of their mouth. But this was like the throw up was like shooting out of their mouths, but it was just like someone did like the bare bones minimum to like make, and granted, I hate throw up scenes in movies, so you would think I'd be
yeah,
the last person to be complaining about the throw up not looking realistic enough. It was just so bad that I was shocked. I was like, so they
yeah,
didn't spend any money on this at all. Like, I don't understand. I'm sure that most of their money probably went to certain scenes where they're like on location on this fucking farm and flying
yeah,
Jason Stackhouse in from Australia or wherever he lives now. But like,
yeah,
what the fuck is happening, dude? Like, what is going on? And then like she's like, well, now I got to figure out how to get Winnie to run away, Dana. She's like, oh, I got to
yeah,
figure out how to get Winnie to run away because we don't want Aunt Sarah and Carrie getting sold. And the first thing I fucking said, I stood up from my seat, Rachel.
yeah.
I had a brain aneurysm. I
Hmm.
was fucking. So she's a woman in 2016, which means that she has seen all of the, or has the opportunity to have seen all of the slave movies, which there's a ton. There's a whole back catalog, okay? Every
Hmm.
slave movie from fucking the first slave movie all the way up to 2016 she has been able to watch if she wants. She has had history books she could read. She's had novelizations to read. This woman has
Yeah,
been
she's a movie writer,
I mean, she
TV
has
show
been
writer.
steeped in television, right? So
Uh huh.
clearly she must have seen a lot of stuff. And she, instead of fucking trying to find a way around this, decides to convince her to run away. Everyone knows what happens to runaway slaves, dude.
Yeah,
Everyone knows what happens to runaway slaves. Why is lynching a word that you can't use in 2022? It's because of what used to happen to runaway fucking slaves, right? It's not a secret. It's not a secret.
yeah,
Everybody knows what used to happen to runaway fucking slaves, okay? But this woman is like, you know what's a good idea? Getting this young, innocent black woman to run away on her own with no weapons whatsoever, no way
hmm,
to defend herself. Meanwhile, in the first fucking episode of this show, she's a free woman walking around on her own in the night and gets raped or almost gets raped. But you're going to be like, oh yeah, why don't you go ahead and run away? Meanwhile, in the book, there's an escape attempt that goes so horribly wrong, somebody ends up with their fucking face caved in, arms and
yeah.
legs ripped off by dogs. But sure, go ahead and let her walk through the forest by herself at night. Are you kidding right now?
I just,
What?
I
Like
don't
that's as good
understand.
that's as good as death. Sending a beautiful black slightly built woman out on her own in the dark, right? And trying to get her to go across state lines to freedom in the north. That's as good as a death sentence.
Also, this woman doesn't seem to like have a whole lot of like, I don't want to say survival instincts. I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but like she knows how to survive in the situation she has been put in. But
Mhm.
I don't think she has like survival as we know it today. Like she can't like
She doesn't. No.
run into the wilds and build a fire, you know?
No.
Like I don't understand how she's expected to get from point A all the way many states away to point B. Like she can
No.
survive in the things that she's been put through.
Mhm.
She cannot survive in the wilderness.
I mean, she's sitting there crying that
Yeah.
she's going to lose her place in the house.
Yeah.
This woman is like, the raping is all I have.
Yeah.
I have to survive the raping because it gives me more privacy and it gives me a place to at least tend to my wounds when he's done.
Yeah.
That's this woman's life.
Mhm.
And Dana's like, "Well, you know what's better than that? Getting torn apart by dogs."
Yeah,
Like,
like, Winnie has made the
what?
most out of the situation she has to be in,
Literally.
and, like, Dana essentially, like, forcing her, like, obviously, Winnie had some freedom to go with Dana, but,
Yep.
like, not really, because
No.
Dana did not really give her time to, like, think through anything,
Nope.
to
She
even, like,
told her. She didn't
yeah,
ask.
yeah, which
And
is,
then
like
she says, Winnie
fucked
says,
up.
at least Tom took me out of them fields. Number
Yeah,
1, Tom,
mhm,
she's so familiar with him, she could use his Christian name, not say Mars Tom. I don't think
yeah,
so.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. Tom took me out of the fields, number 1. And number 2, at least he took me out of the fields. At least? At least?
Yeah,
What woman who gets raped over and over and over and over and over and over and over again is like, "Well, at least I have a house."
yeah.
What?
I don't understand. I don't understand at all.
Like,
I'm
what is
very
this show trying to
confused.
say? Like, what are
I
they
don't
trying to say? Like,
know. I don't get it.
I just, it hurts me, man. It hurts me. It hurts.
It does. It like
It hurts to
it's
watch this.
kind of offensive. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't uh
So then they get to Olivia's house. They see Luke in the woods. He looks upset. He's got
mhm.
a look on his face where I don't know if he's about to go tell somebody that he done seen this lady in the fucking forest.
But
Confusing.
why would
He
he?
says nothing. He just
Yeah.
stares. And there's like a long silence, right?
Yeah.
Terrible acting all around. And then,
Truly.
like, we get to the cabin, right? To Olivia's cabin. Olivia's pissed that she brought a runaway slave to her cabin, which, like, okay, fine, I guess. But when she, like, tells her to get down inside that hole in the floorboards, right? She's like,
Yeah.
hey, get in the hole. I'll bring you some food shortly. Winnie steps down into the hole. Man, you want to talk about, like, scenes that could be art, right? That's something that a lot of people do. There's a
Mhm.
there's a channel on YouTube called Every Scene a Painting, right?
Mhm.
About framing and the
Mhm.
art of framing and how much you can tell in a story in just one frame, just by the way it's arranged and the way it's shot and the care that is taken, right?
Yeah.
In the portrayal of this scene.
Mhm.
The shot that I am left with from this episode is the one of Dana looking down on Winnie as she goes into
Yeah.
this hole. This woman is has lost everything. She
Mhm.
has lost her place in a house that she didn't belong in the first place. She has lost the respect of all of the other black people that might otherwise have her back. She has
Mhm.
lost her home, quite literally, because she can never go back there.
Yeah.
She's lost a future of being sold somewhere that arguably would probably be worse, but also maybe could have been slightly better. And by
Mhm.
better, I mean in a way like she'd be in a house and nobody would touch her, but she'd still be a slave, right? Like, which isn't
Yeah.
really like better, but is better.
Yeah.
And she has lost any sense of safety and purpose in her life,
Mhm.
right? The wheels have come off for her. And she's descending into this dark hole in a fucking stranger's floor. And she looks up at this woman with hope in her eyes. And the frame is Dana looking down, glowering at her.
Yeah.
I will never get over that. The look of superiority on the actor's face that plays Dana, like, just
Yeah.
get in there. You'll be fine. I have to make sure that my ancestors are good. So what? We're saying we're gonna fucking like sacrifice other black people to get our goals now? Is this like the argument where white people are like, black people own slaves too, you know? Some of the
Yeah.
slaves were sold into slavery by kings and queens of Africa. It's like, right, because it wasn't systemic racism where we were being racist toward them. It wasn't, oh, you're black, therefore you're a slave. It was,
Yeah.
I conquered your kingdom.
Mhm.
You can either be one of my subjects or you can be a servant. That's very
Yeah.
different than chattel slavery, right? Like, but a lot of people make that comparison. That's what this felt like. Like, she's looking down at her like, well, your turn is over. Oh well, good luck. I need to make sure that I get mine. Like, my
Yeah.
heart my heart was a fucking icicle, dude. my heart was an icicle. Like the blood in my veins like froze. Like
Yeah.
I got choked up. Like I did not deal with it well. I did not deal with it. It's toward the end of the episode. I had a hard time even continuing. That scene fucked me up so bad. Like I just like
It's so hard to watch.
it's beyond offensive. I
Yeah.
don't even know what the next word is. But outside, I don't know what's worse than offensive. But whatever that word is, that's the word. That's it. That's how I feel.
I just so there's, on the Twitter, the Kindred TV Twitter, someone's mentioned something about the eye work that the actress that plays Dana does. And I just feel like at all times she looks dead inside. And like this
Mhm.
is a perfect example of that too. Like
Yep.
I don't understand what's like, are we not watching the same thing as
And
the
no.
people
No.
that run that account? Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you
Yeah.
guys get a better movie? Can you send it to me?
I don't know. It's bad. It's really bad. It's
Like
really
I
bad. And like after all of that tumult,
Mhm.
after all of that heartbreak, right? After the pure just sadness of that scene, the
Mhm.
not knowing what's next, right? Like
Mhm.
we see Dana go back to Kevin's room
Yep.
and they're in the room together
Mhm.
and Kevin jokes how much Rufus loves Dana.
Mhm.
And one of the last things that Winnie says to Dana is, I know you're not his slave. Like, I
Mhm.
know that's not your slave. I see how he looks at you and how you look at him. And
Mhm.
Dana's like, he loves me. And she's like, he doesn't. They're
Yeah.
incapable. It's not in their nature. They can't love you. And
Mhm.
Dana, like, just kind of like does this, like, well, I'm different face on, right?
Yeah.
Goes back into the arms of this white man,
Mhm.
who then says, this racist son of a plantation slaveholder
Mhm.
loves you so
Mhm.
much, and then jokes that he has competition in him. Well, your heart might not always belong to me because I'm going to have competition soon when Rufus gets older. How is that the joke you're making?
I don't know. I don't know.
I have competition?
Yeah, and then also he's getting all of Dana's lines, like anything that was remotely like showed Dana cared. Like he's like,
Yep,
I think I should stay and be a teacher for Rufus. Maybe he'll turn out
yep,
better.
yep, yep. He gets all of Dana's lines. Well, the two of us, we can make him better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Sure.
Yeah. And then, dear listener, they fuck.
They do fuck.
They fuck. They fuck long and hard. And they fuck. It's a fairly extended scene,
Yeah.
considering that this is not the time or place for a sex scene at all, right?
Literally. What's
Especially
sexy
after a
about
black
this?
woman just looked at this other lady and was like, he can't love you, girl. And she was like, I'm going to fuck the love into him. What?
Yeah, what? I don't
They're like taking their
understand.
time. She gets on top of him. I'm sure that her on top, somebody probably was like, that's subverting the patriarchy because she's getting hers. No, it's not. It's a black lady fucking this white dude
Also,
in a
she's
time
still in
when white people
underwear.
are fucking toxic, right? They both are still fairly clothed while they're fucking as well, which like,
Yeah.
sure, right? Like these people are relaxed enough to fuck. Not quietly, I might add,
Yeah.
in a time when Dana could be brutally beaten just for sleeping in the room with all her clothes on at the foot of his bed. She's not even allowed to sleep on the floor in that bitch. And yet she's fucking all over this man like a Playboy centerfold. I'm like watching it and I'm like, yo, I'm all for sexual liberation. I am the furthest thing from a prude. Like I could probably stand to be more prudish in life. But let me tell you, that was just I
Yeah.
mean, I if it had been a movie, I would have walked the fuck out. I would have walked out. Like I would have walked out before then, but that would have just been it for me. Like fuck it. Fuck it.
And the fact that like also is she going to get pregnant? Like I'm terrified that she's going to get pregnant and that's going to be like wrapped in this somehow cuz we know they aren't using any sort of protection whatsoever.
It's funny you say that because something that occurred to me was the first time that her mom went back in time, was she pregnant with Dana?
I don't understand her mom. Like I don't understand if her mom only went back once. No,
Me
because they
either.
say that she like talked about. I don't
She
understand.
was raving about it. Yeah, she was
Yeah,
raving about it, they said. But it's not clear if she went back one time or multiple times, but it's definitely multiple times because she would have had to have gone back at least once to be able to tell anybody about it.
I'm so confused.
Listen, it doesn't make any sense. They shit the bed with this so hard. They shit the bed with this whole fucking show. And I
Yeah,
really hope they don't get renewed. I hope it's egg on everyone's fucking face. Like I don't wish ill on people, but goddamn. Like this is so fucked up. Like
I
it's so
just want
fucked up.
someone. All I want is I want no white people to work on this movie so bad. I just like there's enough white directors. We don't need another one. You know what I mean? Like, can we, for the love of God, just get like an actually group of people who care about
Yeah.
this book and just
And
make it
please.
a movie? Like, it's not that hard. It's all right there for you. And if you're like,
It's
hey, I
terrible.
really want to make sure that people understand, so we're gonna age it up to 2020. There is ways to do that.
Yep, and still make it sound to the original.
Yeah,
Like it's like they didn't even try. And like the
so
only
good.
things that I learned in this episode, right? By the end of
Yeah.
the episode, I learned that the reason that they show up in episode 4 with no clothes on is
Hmm.
because things from that time period can't go back in time.
Which doesn't make sense.
So like both of them are wearing clothes from that time period. Kevin is wearing the Wayland's clothes and
Yeah.
Dana is wearing that blue dress that they gave. That's
Yeah.
why when she goes back in time back to her time, the
Hmm.
clothes disappear and their underwear stay because their underwear are from the modern time and their clothes are not. Which
Which
like
just doesn't make sense at
I
all.
think that's why Olivia doesn't think that she can go back because she's too much a product of that time now. She's like
Yeah.
in that time now. Like she's just she's too steeped in that time, which makes me
Yeah.
wonder what that's going to have what problem that's going to create in the future, right?
Yeah.
Like is there a third dimension which we've already kind of talked about because of that one guy that tried to assault or did assault Dana in the first episode? Where did he go, right? Is there
Hmm.
like another plane of existence where he goes or where the clothes went, right, when they
Hmm.
vanish? Like it's stupid and doesn't matter to anything at all, which is why I'm really resentful that it's even a thing. But like
Yeah.
and then the other thing that I learned was every episode, this is something I noticed rather than learned, every episode is credited to both a different director and a different writer. So, like, there's
Yeah.
already inconsistencies in how the story is being told, and it absolutely fucking shows. It
Yeah.
absolutely fucking shows. It feels so disjointed. The way the actors are being treated is disjointed. The way the story is unfolding is disjointed. This whole thing is a hot fucking mess, and they should be ashamed.
Yeah.
Honestly, they should be ashamed. Like, it's horrible.
This is something that I honestly think should not have ever been released.
Nope. Nope.
Like, they should
I'm
have.
dying to know what the focus group said
Yeah.
and who the focus group was. Were they like, we're trying to get white people to watch it? Hey, you, do you
Hey,
like
you
American
random.
Horror Story?
Yeah.
Do you like fucking Sons of Anarchy? Other leading FX shows? Well, tell me what you think of this. Oh, it makes you feel bad about being white? How can we fix that problem? No.
Literally.
No.
It's just. I'm just sad. I'm just
Yeah.
sad.
Yep.
Also,
They had an
and
opportunity to do something really amazing and wasted it.
yeah, I do have to mention that at the end of this book, we do have Margaret Raylan being pregnant. That is just thrown in right at the end. So I don't.
For what?
I mean, I know in the book that's supposed to be how she like disappears forever, you know.
Well, because she
But like,
loses the twins and she gets sent away.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, we've changed everything else. We really gotta bring this into like already. Like, are we gonna have this like 10-year-old be playing the teenage Rufus? Because it's gonna piss me off too.
I've got to tell you, like, I am so. There's 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
We are going to watch them and we're going to talk about them.
Yep.
And then we're never going to watch this show again.
Correct. I
I
had to
guess.
write a post about. I'm trying to go through and do like posts about each of the books I've done so that people can sort the podcast by um either all episodes or by the books themselves to make it
Mm-hmm.
like easier for people to find things. And it
Mm-hmm.
came to me writing like the little section about the movie, and I was like, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say because I mean
Mm-mm.
I want on one hand for people to listen to the episodes, but on the
Mm-hmm.
other hand I don't want anybody to watch the movie. So I was like,
No.
these are things we watched. Maybe don't watch them. Listen to the
Mm-mm.
episodes though.
Yes.
It's a hot mess.
Brutal.
It's a
Brutal.
hot mess express. And like the Kindred TV show Twitter responding to me just still is making me giggle every time I think about it.
Brutal. Can't. Can't. Super embarrassing for them. Super embarrassing for them. They're like, we're not even going to listen to the first episode of this podcast so that we know exactly how you're feeling about our show. We're just going to assume that you're saying nice things. Well, guess what? I have
I
nothing nice
feel
to say
like
about your show other
I
than
feel
you
like it was
have
pretty
good taste in
clear.
your source material. That's it.
Yeah. I feel like it was pretty clear just from the video itself that I
I
it was
agree.
not a good reaction.
I agree.
I think they're
But
honestly
somebody's
just
somebody's
grasping at
getting paid minimum
straws.
wage.
That's fair. But I legitimately think they had to have been fully grasping at straws to have made this
Mhm.
happen because it's like one thing I will say is I can see that their Twitter is dying out. Like they were doing a few posts a day and they haven't posted in 3 days, which again,
Mhm.
holidays, but I don't know. I think
No one's talking about it.
yeah, I think someone might have given up.
Yeah, the hashtag
Um
is dead.
I don't know. Let's see. Let's just Google Kindred TV show really quick and
Mhm.
see what the latest thing people are saying. Oh, just kidding. People are talking about. Oh, so here we go. Someone said this Kindred TV series was trash. So horrific for what?
Mhm.
A lot of people are talking about
That's
Kindred
accurate.
Spirits, which is apparently a show that I don't know anything about. But
Well, regular Kindred is trash for what?
yeah, yeah, I don't know. Mm,
I'm so tired.
yeah, nobody's saying anything good.
Not one nice thing. Anytime you see someone saying something nice, it's somebody who works on the show.
Yeah. Oh no, this person's about to be disappointed. Someone said, "I've seen some people talking about the Kindred TV show. I think the book is brilliant. I'm eager to see what the show is like." And I want to respond back, "Don't do it.
Sweet
Don't
baby,
do
don't
it.
ruin it. Don't ruin it for yourself. Don't.
No, stay away. Run far, far away."
No.
Someone said, "Oh, someone wrote an article on s- something called Substack. I don't know what that is, but um,
Mhm.
it said FX's Kindred loses its magic from page to screen.
Yep.
That's pretty accurate."
That's generous, if you ask me. Loses its magic is very generous.
Yeah. And someone said, okay, if Anne Rice is getting her own supernatural TV universe, Octavia Butler deserves one too. But also, what is this Kindred y'all made? IDK if I'm feeling it.
Nope.
That's a vibe.
They know they're trying to be nice.
Someone wrote Kindred, the best shit on TV. It's just like the book. I think this
I
has
bet
to
you
be
anything that
satire.
person works for them. Either it's satire and they're trolling people hard, or it's somebody who works on that show. One or the other. It's not. It can't
I
be serious. It can't be
it would
serious.
not surprise me if someone just paid for that.
Oh God.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. It seems like this is like a shitpost account.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. The account is Hoodrich TTBTM is the name. So don't I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah. No. Mm-mm. No. No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
If you're
I think
listening to
that's
this, don't watch it. Don't watch
don't
it,
watch it.
guys. Don't bother. Please don't waste your time. Don't watch it. Like, if you want good black media, go watch Strange World on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
That movie is
Or anything
beautiful.
else.
Literally anything else. Literally anything else. Anything in the world else. I'm
Yeah,
excited for us to watch the Interview with the Vampire show
me too.
because I actually heard that's actually pretty good.
Okay,
And
we
they
need the
update it and
joy.
modernize it in a nice way. So like I'm excited to watch that and to critique that with you. Because
Yeah.
and that's what I like too is that they go off book from jump, right?
Mhm.
The design of the show is off book rather than being like, hey, here's a Kindred show, but surprise, it's not at all like the book, right? Like
Yeah.
this is we're gonna keep all those relationships intact, but we're gonna have some different set pieces instead of it being set in slavery times. It's gonna be in the early 1900s. Okay, cool. I'm down for the ride. Like, if it's as bad as this show, I will rip it a new asshole. But something tells me
Mhm.
it's not going to be. Something
Yeah,
tells me
I'm
even at its
hopeful.
worst, it still won't. It'll pale in comparison to this absolute mess.
Yeah, I can understand them being like, "Hey, listen, we're not gonna set this with slavery because like this doesn't really talk
It
about it
doesn't
that
need to
much."
be. Right,
Yeah,
right.
so I
I
can get them being like, "Yo, we're not gonna show that because like you don't need another white people versus
yeah,
situation, and we want to do
absolutely.
this book justice and not like have that as a focus." And I'm be like, you know what, fine,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Sign me up. As long as I don't have to go through this shit ever again.
Yeah. Like, stop making shitty adaptations. It's not that hard. All of your groundwork is right there, and you have to
Yep.
like purposely rip it apart. I don't understand.
Nope.
I don't get it. I really don't.
I think that's all I have. That's all
Yeah,
I have as far as notes. That's it for
that's
this
all.
episode.
I mean, I feel like I can roast it for another hour and a half, but I don't think we need to. I think
I
we,
mean, we're gonna have episode 7 to roast soon, so
yeah.
or episode 8, whichever
What
episode. I don't
a,
even know what we're on. I don't even care. Episode 6.
6. Yeah. Yep.
Thank God it's not a 10 episode season. Thanking my lucky
Oh,
stars.
one thing I do want to mention, the inconsistency with the episode length is also so strange. Like the
It's
first two
bizarre.
episodes were like an hour, and the
This one's
episode,
like 35 minutes.
yeah, I'm
And
like,
what's fucked up is they give you more ads on Hulu to make up for the fact that it's a shorter
I
episode.
know. I thought I
Every
was going
other minute there's the
crazy.
fucking Me too. I was like, what is this? I wonder if
Yeah.
Rachel had more fucking advertisements than normal.
Also, the
So much
advertisements
to
I got
dislike.
were fucking wild because usually they advertise based on the TV show you're watching.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Um,
none such.
I was like, I don't know who they think they're watching is because I got an advertisement, many advertisements for relationship online dating of
Yeah,
some form.
match.com and shit. Yes,
Well,
same.
I also got one for over 50-year-olds.
Same. Yep.
Yeah, which
Mhm.
is so fucking weird. Like, who do they
Bizarre.
think is watching the show? Or are the people that run fucking Hulu also just as confused?
I think so. Who is this for?
Yeah, it could be anybody.
People. Let's put ads with people in them.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. That's that. Yeah, this is it. That's all we've got. That's
Yep.
this is what we have. This is what we present to you. We'll
Yep.
see you next week.
We sure
Um,
will.
I know it's not going to get better, but one can hope, right?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Just don't watch it.
Don't.
Don't.
Don't do that to yourself.
If you're wanting something that's like horror esque, I thought Get Out was good.
Yep.
I enjoyed that. I don't know. I don't watch much horror, so maybe I don't know.
New
Just watch
Candyman
something
I heard
else.
is pretty good. I'm probably going to watch that this weekend sometime.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Suffer with us. We'll see you next week. Candace, where
Yeah.
can the people of the internet find you and your stuff?
You can find me at that Candace girl on Twitter. That's Candace. And then you can find me at Candace the Magnificent on YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Please follow me if you like cute content and opinionated Black non-binary women.
All things we love here on the Barely Bookish podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for coming and suffering through this shitty show with me.
Of course.
We will catch you next week with probably more shitty show stuff.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.